Hey there, my friend. Welcome to another episode of Life After Corporate, the space where reinvention meets real talk. I am Deb Boulanger, and if you're listening right now, maybe you're in the middle of a quiet identity crisis. Maybe you were once the senior vice president or vice president or the director or the go-to person behind the big corporate wins. And now maybe you're just sitting with being you, and that can feel scary as hell. I'll never forget the morning I stared at my LinkedIn profile, reading the title Corporate Strategist like it was someone else's story. I had left the big job, the title, the steady paycheck, but no one warned me about what I really lost. And what I really lost was the identity that I had hung my ego on for the past 20 years. And what I stepped into wasn't just a business, it was a full-blown spiritual awakening. And that's why today's episode is about doing the soul's work, why entrepreneurship is probably the most radical spiritual path that you can take. And leaving corporate isn't just a new chapter, it's a total ego reset. In that world, we're defined by deliverables, team size, performance reviews. We belong in corporate because we fit the mold. And as women leaders, we learn to color inside the lines, not to rock the boat, not to be too soft, too hard, too much, not enough. But when we step out, that mold breaks completely and it can feel totally unfamiliar. So whether you left your corporate role of your own choosing, or that choice was made for you, whether you left because of burnout or you left because of a strong desire to be of service to the world, or there's a mission that you feel called to fulfill. But when we make that leap, we underestimate the transition from the identity of being a corporate leader to the identity of being a business owner. So who are you without your business card? Who are you without your business credentials? And who are you when there's no team, no structure, no title, no calendar that's already pre-booked for you, no HR department, no sales team? This moment right here is not just a pivot. It's a beginning of your soul's initiation. So let's walk through what this really looks like, whether you've already dove in with both feet, or you're dipping a toe in, or you're thinking about someday, one day, maybe you launch a business. Let's talk about the process. So first, there's a calling. And that calling usually starts as a whisper. Maybe it's a gut pull, a subtle discontent. We have a technical term for it in Life After Corporate. We call it the niggle. And you realize that your ladder's been leaning on the wrong wall. And for me, that moment came right as I was in the middle of my divorce, toward the end of my divorce. I was navigating menopause. I was trying to be more present with my 12-year-old son. And I had success. I had achieved more than I ever imagined I would when I first started my career. But I didn't have fulfillment. And I couldn't find fulfillment in corporate. I couldn't find it in the company I was working for. And I couldn't find it when I interviewed around at other companies. And then there's this void, right? So after making that decision to leave my company and start a coaching practice, a, a, a practice I never intended to launch. I was newly credentialed. And truthfully, even though I had decades of sales, marketing, product development, and business leadership experience, I wasn't prepared for this road ahead, right? So the void is the place where you're no longer who you were, but you're not yet who you're becoming. The title's gone, the structure's gone. It feels like floating or free falling. I lived there during a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and it was just me. It was just my thoughts and a mind that wouldn't stop. And then in a very quiet 45-minute meditation session, there came the truth I couldn't unhear. And that was that I was meant to help others navigate this uncertainty, to navigate this transition of letting go of the fixed identity that was serving us in an unconscious way, but not in a way that truly served us, if you know what I mean, right? So it fits all the things that are sometimes broken inside that we don't acknowledge. The need for validation, the need for approval, the desire to have our self-worth come from the outside, not necessarily the inside. And corporate is a perfect place for that, right? So if you have an internal wound of not being good enough or needing to prove yourself, and you are a perfectionist and all of those things that are greatly rewarded because you become an achiever, right? So if your top 5 Clifton strengths are strategic, activator, achiever, relator, and winning others over, those were literally my top 5. Those are my top 5 strengths. Then you're perfect for the corporate world because you're going to work hard. You're going to go that extra mile because you want that approval. And so then you step into the void and you don't have that anymore. So you have to create it from the inside. And that's your rebirth, right? That's when clarity starts to trickle in and you begin creating not from approval, but from alignment, where the offers, what you're putting out into the world actually feels good. And you have to create boundaries to protect your energy, to protect your creativity. In the Reliable Revenue Mastermind, we've been talking about our human design and how that creates a rhythm in our system, which translates into a rhythm in your business. So we're not meant to hustle and grind 24/7. And that's also a lie that we've been taught in corporate, that you have to be grinding all the time. You have to be on all the time. You have to work during your vacations. You have to be available to your team 24/7. And the rebirth is where you begin creating from that alignment where you remember your values and you lead from your values and you get to spend time with the people that you value most. You get to devote your attention and activity to the causes that matter most. And then finally, there's the stage of the embodied CEO. That's when you finally step into this new identity that you're creating and you get it. You get it. You get that there's a rhythm, there's a purpose, there's a reason why you're here. There's a brilliance that only you bring to the world, that only you can bring to your clients. And you find your voice. And it's a new voice. And it doesn't mean that you have to be on TikTok and Instagram all the time if video isn't your jam, but it does mean that you get to bring your brilliance to the world in a way that feels good. And for me, that's webinars, workshops, put me in front of the room and let me pour into a community of people. And that's my happy place. And truly, that's the reason why we launched the Life After Corporate community for people like you who are just getting started and making these identity shifts, but underestimating the detox period, the time it takes to kind of shed the old conditioning and to step into this new belief system, this new support system. And when you are the embodied CEO, that's when you rise. For many of my clients in the Launch Lab, it's not where you thought you were going to go, right? So it's inevitable that when clients join the Launch Lab, they have an idea of what they think they're bringing to the world. And during the 4 months that we work together, and once they start embodying their truth and who they really are, they bring all of themselves to the table. And bringing all of yourself to the table is what makes you absolutely unique. Whether you are an executive coach, a leadership coach, an organizational consultant, a fractional CXO, there's no one who's exactly you when you embody your full truth of why you're here. And I know it sounds woo, but there's a really practical strategy and tactical steps that we go through in order to get there. And it's the place you want to be, because it's not the polished version of what others want from you. That's the wounding from corporate, where you are fulfilling everyone else's expectations. But this is your full, fierce, soulful self. You're not chasing attention. You're not pretending. You're not faking it till you make it. This is what sovereignty looks like. This is what it looks like to actually own your gifts. And there's a shadow side to this too, right? So not everything is a bed of roses. We're not looking through our business with rose-colored CEO glasses. And if we're being honest, entrepreneurship is messy. I post about this on LinkedIn all the time. It's the late nights. It's the scary months of low revenue. It's another $5,000 course that you thought was going to fix it all. It's wondering how you can be this experienced and still have the quietest bank account in the room. You know, it's where you're sweating. You're waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, wondering, how the hell am I going to pay the mortgage as the primary wage earner in my family? And if I fail, what will my husband think of me? What will my partner think of me? What will my friends and former colleagues and my children think of me? But here's the truth. It's not about failure. And you won't fail. You've never failed at anything in your life before. So there's no failure here. And you're just becoming. And it's in this uncomfortable, gooey, interstitial space where you're shedding the old skin. And that is where the sacred work is. And yes, it's gritty, it's vulnerable, it's sometimes ugly, and it's spiritual. It's really the biggest gift that you can give yourself in this lifetime on this planet, is to give yourself the gift of becoming. And then there's the rewiring for sacred success. I love Barbara Hewson, aka Barbara Stanny. She wrote Overcoming Under-Earning decades ago, but she wrote a book also called Sacred Success. I can't remember if it's under Barbara Stanny or Barbara Hewson. And in that, she unpacks why we, especially as females, don't accept our own success, and how we really need to rewire our brains in order to receive more, because we've been conditioned through society to be worth less. And so we unconsciously think less of ourselves than we need to. And many of us had family conditioning that told us that, or reinforced the belief that we were worth less. So here's where entrepreneurship becomes a spiritual path, because it's not about the hustle. It truly is about listening to your internal voice. And when entrepreneurship becomes a spiritual path, your offers, what you put out in the world, becomes a full-bodied yes. It becomes a complete mind meld of why you're here and what the problem is and who you want to work with and what that would look like and how you would price that. And it feels like soulful service, not performance. We're not performing for the paycheck. We're not performing for the accolades. We're not performing for our clients to love us. We're actually performing because we want to be of service. And we have discovered something, and we can't hold it in any longer, and we must share it with others. And we're in it for their transformation. And that's when your sales feel like service, your pricing honors your energy and your impact. So if you've come to any of our master classes or webinars, you know I talk about something called ROA, and that's your return on advantage, because no one is buying your self-worth. No one is paying for an hour of your time. They're buying a solution to an expensive problem. And your transformational journey, whether you're a consultant, a coach, an advisor, whatever service you're bringing to the world, has value. And the value to your client is the cost of inaction times the value of change. Right? So the cost of inaction is the longer things go on the way they are. And this is true for you as well. The longer you let your problems fester and continue, the deeper the cost is, financial, emotional. The same is true for your clients. And the value of change, when they invest in you or when you invest in yourself and you do the work and you are aligned in the transformation that you were called to create in the first place, that's when change really happens. And so if you're hesitating to invest in yourself, this is not a manipulative pitch to get you to work with me. But if you're not investing in yourself, why would anyone invest in you? If you don't believe in yourself enough to invest in the evolution of your skills, to step into a bigger version of who you are, if you're not willing to invest in your own future success and bet on yourself, why would anyone else? Why would anyone else bet on you or invest in you? So sometimes we lose sight of why we're here and what we're creating because our mindset hasn't yet caught up to our spiritual journey. And the spiritual path of entrepreneurship is about belonging. It's about legacy. And ultimately, it's about your personal freedom. So if you've been spending decades fitting in, now you're being asked to stand out. And belonging doesn't come from a job title. It doesn't come from being part of a corporate family, which is a line that so many of us have been fed. It comes from resonance. And it first comes from this internal resonance. So resonance really comes from harmony, right? So harmonious tones that resonate together. For you, resonance is resonance with your soul, resonance with your purpose, resonance with your true voice. And this is where sometimes where we're over relying on AI to create our content or create our social posts or create our talk outlines. And God forbid, I've been reading some books and I can tell they were written with AI. And I'm thinking, wow, I have just lost resonance with that author because this was not their soul speaking out in the words on the pages of this book. This was the interpretation of an AI bot on what they were trying to say that is spit out the content on the pages of this book. So this belonging is embodying who you are at this age, this stage, and why you are here. From being with others who see you and love you in your absolute fullness. And that is also the magic of small curated rooms where other people are sharing the path with you and they truly see you. And sometimes my clients will tell me that, Deb, you saw me before I saw me. And it's true that if you don't have the vision or the belief in yourself of where you're going or what your true value is, sometimes you just need to borrow mine for a while until yours gets stronger, until your vision and your confidence and your sense of belonging in your body and in this space that you're occupying now has firmly taken root. So if today's message stirred something in you, then I'd love to hear it. I'd love to get to know you. I'd love to hear about the vision that you have, about the values that you're bringing to this part of your work. And I'm also interested to hear what are those little voices inside telling you and what may be keeping you stuck? What are some of those mindset traps or beliefs that get in the way? Because if you're feeling this sense of scarcity or fear, then you're projecting scarcity and fear out into the world. And your energy precedes the sale. So the first thing we want to do is clear your energy by clearing your mental space so that you're coming from a place of powerful presence and with magnetic resonance and aligned action. So your ideal clients are resonating. They are vibrating on the same frequency as you are. And so they're picking up the messages that you are putting out. If your vibrational frequency is below sea level, no one is going to resonate with what you have to say. And the people you do attract into your ecosystem and the sales conversations you do have will be with people who can afford you or who have the same scarcity mindset issues. So this is not theory. This is actually fact. This is actually brain science that has now come out of the closet and has been proven over the last decade. And if you are feeling that craving for community, if you are feeling that craving for a safe space where you can be in this interstitial, gooey, uncomfortable space, then I want you to join us in the Life After Corporate community. We launched a digital membership last December, and I don't talk about it enough, and I would love for you to join. You can learn more about it at lifeaftercorporate.com/community, and we will post the link here in the show notes. I'll post a coupon code for 20% off your membership for being a Life After Corporate podcast listener. So look for that in the show notes, or just drop me a message on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to share that coupon code with you. And join us, and plan to spend 6 months to a year in that container, so that you have the support that you need to grow in this very tender stage of your entrepreneurship journey, as you're creating this new identity, as you're extending your roots into the ground, as you're finding your voice and you're finding your resonance with your market. So join us. We always are kicking off experiences. You can join me and my community manager for coaching calls, mastermind sessions every single month, where we'll help you create your undeniable offer, nailing your pricing, and learn how to close with confidence, and also how to take care of yourself as a CEO, and how to not fall into some of those mindset traps that can keep you stuck for a very long time. So there's no fluff, there's no overwhelm, there's no heavy sales pitch here. This is just soul aligned strategy. And if you've been binging our episodes because you're just getting started, then this is a low investment. Normally it's $9.99 for the full year. You will get 20% off of that. So with the coupon code that we'll put down here, it's VIP20OFF. So VIP20OFF if you go to lifeaftercorporate.com/community. No fluff, no overwhelm, just practical soul aligned strategy. You're not too late. You're not too confused. You're not too overwhelmed. You're just on time, and you're right in the right place. And your business isn't just a brand, and it is not just about you, but it is a bridge to your most aligned, most magnificent, most expressive, soulful self. So thanks for tuning in, my friend. Until next time, stay radiant, stay rooted, and remember, you are already enough. And the world is waiting to hear from you. The world is waiting to learn from you. And if you're not standing up in front of the room and sharing your brilliance, then everyone is missing out. I'll see you soon.